There's this one time that we were playing, and I was playing against Erick here, and Erick is way faster than me. So there's this one time that I forgot what happened, but I had got heated in the game, and I was just mad, and I let it out on Erick, and I bodied him like pretty hard.
If
But
you
then
can't tell, he's stronger than me.
so I bodied him, and then and then he used his strength, so I would not his speed, so I was just like, oh, so I was using my strength, he was using his speed like the whole entire game, but then afterwards, it's like nothing happened. We're here. Hello.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Unseen Podcast. We actually have 4 people this time, and that's because we have one of our co-hosts back, and that is Erick.
Yeah.
He's been out, and well, if he wants to tell that story at some point, he will tell the story. But he's been out, but he is now back, and now it's my turn to go out and
Explore the world.
and explore the world and be adventurous. Nah, I'm messing with you. But we have 2 of the familiar faces that you guys have been seeing past couple of months, Reyna and Walter. They're here for a little bit of like scenery. If you guys haven't watched the 2 previous podcasts, they were about gender perspectives and like our culture in today's aspect. So she is representing the girl side, he's representing the guy side. So they're gonna be here answering a couple of our questions, debriefing them, kind of recapping a couple of things that we've been going through with the actual YouTube videos that we've been doing. And then of course Erick is here as a host with me. So we're gonna be kind of giving them a couple of questions there. Anything you want to say before we actually get started? Because I know this is your first time back.
I'm happy to be back. I got a lot of things that I kind of want to touch upon. The last 2 videos have been awesome.
A lot of build-up.
It's one thing to be able to talk like amongst like your same gender, right? Like you feel a little more comfortable. You feel like you get a little backing up. But we're gonna get a little tense, this time, and we have the presence of each other, and and so this is gonna be some good conversation.
Yeah, I just thinking about it now, I do feel like Reyna is gonna kind of get heated here because it's 3 against 1. It's 3 against 1. But remember, I'm if he's not neutral, I'm gonna be the most neutral person here, all right? Because I've been the mediator for the past 2. This is kind of what I'm gonna be doing here. I have a couple of questions for both of you, and that's about it.
I will not be neutral.
So, but if you guys remember, or if you haven't seen the channel, the other video, we had 5 segments. One of the segments we actually didn't get with you guys, which was our faith-based one. Okay. So it'll be brand new to you for today. And just an FYI, they haven't watched each other's videos, so they're here not knowing exactly what they said. He watched a little bit. Well, I was here for both recordings, so I kind of remember and understand what everyone said. So it's going to be very interesting. But let's just get straight into it. Our first segment was about pop culture. And before anything, I want you guys to kind of like summarize or recap some of the stuff that you remember of your conversation. However you guys want to do it. Ladies first. That's always the gentleman way. So.
Okay, so from what I remember, a lot of like what we face in pop culture is based off of a lot of what we see, based off of social media, off of shows, and a lot of times girls, they tend to have that either affect or it can both help, but also like not really help their self-esteem in a lot of ways. Yeah, and so we do like a lot of the things based off of what we see, online. And I feel like we're a lot more influenced in that aspect as compared to guys. I feel like y'all just watch stuff for fun. Y'all don't really like yourselves be impacted by that. But then us, it's like always like there's always like some body image issues, some self-esteem issues. There's always something that's like impacted. Okay. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you. Go ahead.
From what I remember is I talked about how, well, with women and with guys, it is slightly different. Like she was saying, it is pretty true. We just watch stuff to like entertain us, like a lot of action, a lot of like suspense and stuff like that. And women is like, I'm not saying that's mostly like that's what she likes, but it's like fashion, it's like cooking and like stuff like that. So what interests us is very different, and what we receive from it is kind of different. Like we both get entertained with what we watch, but it's kind of different on what we watch and what we like, the reason why we watch it. Like maybe she can watch some fashion stuff or something else that like she likes, and me, I like watching like UFC. I like watching action because I like to see the blood, and I'm like, yeah. But it's
No.
kind of different with women. Whenever they see blood, they're like, "Oh, it's too much" and stuff, you know. And sometimes, whenever like with my mom, like I said, like mom, sometimes she's watching cooking and stuff like that. I'm just like, what do you?
HGTV.
Yeah. Like watching homes and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, it's nice to watch home stuff and everything, but it's not really what catches my attention. So that's kind of what I remember saying.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a couple of points here that I'll just kind of note it for you guys to have a little bit more. One of the things that the guys like really spoke about during that time was like making sure to avoid ungodly influence, meaning like certain shows and movies that we watch. Because of course, like you said, right, we liked a lot of action movies, and with action movies come a lot of rated R moments, right? So
Yeah.
I know that those are things that you guys talked about, and just reiterating what Reyna said about being influenced. They talked about a lot for this particular segment about like you said, just comparison between female to female, things as their actual body image, or just being pressured to do certain things that maybe they wouldn't see each other doing realistically in the path or the walk that we have with God, but it just happens because of that peer pressure or that pressure that they feel because of culture. So that's kind of some of the stuff that she said. But bringing up to that, I know that Erick may have one or two questions for you, so I'll pass it on to him.
No, I definitely, it's 100% true. It's something you observe all the time when it comes to different perspectives on what you guys consume, whether it's or what we all consume on TV, in the movie theaters, on our phones. But my question, honestly, of the both genders, do you guys think that it's more men or women that consume more of pop culture and media? Because we talk about, again, you said, you mentioned a lot of social media. You kind of did the same in a way. Live sports is a big one. But obviously there's more to that. Now, consumption-wise, who do you guys think consumes more of our pop culture, our media, social media, all that good stuff?
That's a great question, because I feel like we both consume on the same levels, but then the way we like put out whatever we consume is different. Yeah. So like, I don't know, because you mentioned that you watch like a lot of like rated R movies and stuff, but you're obviously not gonna do that. Like, yeah. But then us,
That
it's
we
like.
know.
That's exactly what I'm about to say.
But then us, like, whenever we watch things, we tend to like reflect it more in what we do. So I guess the consumption would be basically the same, I'd say, because we're all.
Well, I don't. Well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen is like whenever I watch something or like I know something's like, I don't really put it into my life. I'm like, oh my god, like I should be doing that, or like compare it. And sometimes women see stuff and they're just like, oh, like I wish I could do that, or I wish like, oh, like if they can do it, like I can do it too. You know what I mean? Yeah. So sometimes we just watch. Like me personally, I watch stuff just to watch stuff. I don't really think much of it. You know what I mean? Like I can watch, like. The prime example, like I can watch like someone like sports and stuff like that, and I can see that they're super athletic and everything. I'm not gonna be like, I should be like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yeah, of course as a guy, I'm be like, oh yeah, I can do that. You know what I mean? If I put like my heart in it, but I'm not gonna really put it on me. And I'll be like, okay,
Yeah, for girls it's like
for the girls, it's like they see them like, oh my god, like what am I doing with my life? Type B. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't compare yourself for like to somebody that's professionally doing something, or they're an actor or something like that. Like they're getting paid to do this stuff. Like you can't really be comparing yourself for something they're getting paid for. It's their job. You know what I mean? It's not our job to be doing that. So that's how I see it. And sometimes women are like, oh no, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. I'm like, bro, it's their job. Like they're getting paid to do that. You know what I mean? So
that's an interesting point, because you kind of, I mean, in some sense, you guys already answered this, but who do you guys think your consumption of pop culture and media affects or is more detrimental to your life? Is it men? Because like you said, men usually or guys are usually watching sports or action movies. Like you don't think you're Jackie Chan, you know what I mean? Like you can watch Rush Hour, but you can't do that.
I thought I was.
On the other
I'm more Chris Tucker, bro. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan, I don't know about that. Chris Tucker, maybe.
So Chris Tucker,
the now Tucker, not the prime.
Not
Chris
the one
Tucker.
from 20 years ago. But talk about that, and I want to hear a little more from your side, because like he just said, as a guy, usually guys are very self-aware that we can't probably do a bicycle kick in the Champions League final. Like we know we're not capable of doing that. But like you said, a lot of the consumption, because of the differences in it, like I mean I'm throwing it out there, you know. I know you guys do maybe like shopping, you know. You don't have the money to do a haul like somebody does, or like maybe I don't know, y'all do makeup or stuff like I know it's things like that, you know. So how does that affect? Is it detrimental? Is it more helpful? Like what? How do you see that?
It depends on the person, because a lot of people, they'll find it as like a way for them to better their lives. Like Walter was saying, like, oh, what am I doing with my life? Like they'll find it as a way, you know, to get more fit, eat more healthy, do better, just in general, work harder. But then there'll be other people that, you know, they just keep consuming media, and then they just make that or let that affect their self-esteem and their
mentality.
self-worth. Yeah. But they don't really do anything about it. So it depends on the character of the person. Am I going to use this to help me, or am I going to use this to just make me worse? So
Quickly, can you just closing up the mic just a little bit?
Yeah.
Boom, boom. There we go. Thank you. You know, I was thinking, because you asked her, and I know you noted you were like specifically to you, but I was thinking, at least for me, well, for the ones that don't know, us three were musicians, and she's one of our singers. You did beautiful today, actually. And
Praise God.
You did beautiful today too, Walter. But
Thank you. Amen.
one of the things that I wanted to bring up on is, like, for me, I consume a lot of social media, and the reason why is because of the music. And for me, I do put a lot of pressure in myself because I see other people younger than me or in a different level than me, and I'm like, I could be there. So like, I do feel like, depending on what we're looking at, I know sports wise we're never going to be there because our body can probably physically can't do that ever. And so I completely understand that, but there is certain portions, and I may get into another segment just a little bit here, but like financially, like for the people that really care about it, because certain men do, certain individuals really do, they're like, you know what, I need to dig into this. I need to research into this in order for me to get here and here and here in the next upcoming year. So I do feel like the consumption of it, I'm not going to say it's 50-50. It all just really depends on what we're looking at. Because again, even now, and I've been sending reels to Erick, so he knows, I've been sending him singing tips, music tips, how to be a worship leader, stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, we need to get on it and get stuff like that. So, you know, we know we got to lock into that, and we can get there. Those are achievements that I know we can get there, right? And that's why I said it's a little different with like our actual physical body, because it'll be really tough for me to get there. So like, I see a bodybuilder, you know, dropping like it's nothing.
Sam Sulek, and you're like, whoa.
I'm looking at him like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm gonna do that. So
like, because you were saying like with me, that is a very good point that you're talking about, like with music and stuff like that. Sometimes whenever you're on social media and you see stuff like that, you get ideas. You know what I mean? So like with fitness, of course, you can get like tips and you know, and stuff like that. And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. But like with music and stuff like that, you like, since, you know, we're musicians and, you know, with singing, we can relate to it more. We can know like, oh, like I need to do this, I need to do that. Exactly. Especially, and also like we were saying with financial stuff, and living life. Whenever we see other people's like tips and like their like advice, we can take some of that and we can be like, oh, okay, you know. And that's whenever we can make some changes in our life, and for the better, of course. But like, you know, there are some people, like Reyna said, that they just see it and they just be like, oh, like I wish I can do this, I wish I can do that. But like, you can, you know what I mean? Nothing's impossible. Like, you can go ahead, you know, maybe with the physical stuff about sports and everything seems impossible. We can do it, you know what I mean?
If I had 2 knees, maybe.
That is true. Yeah, I forgot. But you know, yeah, like you're saying, like with music, with stuff like that, we can better ourselves with it. Even sometimes, it like people can say, oh, like social media or the internet can like affect you at some way, but it can also improve your self-esteem. Like it can actually help you, because you can actually learn more, and you can, like, you know, with me personally, like I watch something, and I catch on to it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know what they're doing, so like that, and I can learn a little bit more from that. You know, of course you got to practice, of course you got to put into like practice, but social media and tips and advice and influencers and stuff like that can actually help you improve in certain aspects of your life.
Yeah.
No, and it's huge, you know, to kind of put a bow on this conversation. you mentioned something about dwelling on certain things, right? Because just depending on what it is that we're consuming, what we dwell on is what really matters, you know. Because there's so much out there that you can consume in movies, in TV shows, on our phones or whatever. But Philippians chapter 4 verse 8, it says, and we were talking about it. It says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any moral excellence and if there's anything praiseworthy, dwell on these things. Now, that's not saying that everything that we're going to consume is going to be good, but it is telling us to dwell on the things that are praiseworthy, on the things that will benefit us, on the things that will lift us up, on the things that reflect love and whatnot. So it's important to kind of keep on the back of our mind because, again, we do have different perspectives on pop culture, on all these kinds of things. And we consume things that are completely different, that affect us differently. But ultimately, what we dwell on is what really matters.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I mean, I think we have to understand that we have to have different practices when it comes to something like that, right? We have to have our ways of doing certain things and avoiding others to understand that, like he said, not everything that you're going to do is beneficial or good for you. Some things, they're not good nor bad, but there's some things that are really bad, right, for you. And I think as we grew up in our Christian lifestyle, if you grew up for a couple of years, you come sense with those things. And we continue to learn because there is certain things that I will say that probably I still have in my life that I consume that I shouldn't be consuming. But it takes not only us, but also the Holy Spirit kind of manifesting himself into us and being like, hey,
convicting us,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You have to move on from that. That's not good for you. And then he'll put you somewhere else and, you'll feel much better.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to skip this other segment, so I'll just quickly bring it up. But it was good for when I heard you guys talk about, but it's the sports and competitiveness of the genders. So I won't skip it. Really, all I want to ask, because you guys didn't hear each other's podcast, so I would like for you to kind of summarize what you guys said about it.
Okay, well, from sports, I remember it was Yasmin talking most about it because I didn't really have much to contribute. But I know that she said that women's sports tend to get a lot less support. But then once people see them doing good, that's when the support kind of goes up. But it will never be to the same level men's sports, And yeah, that's pretty much all I know about sports.
Well, I said that the competitive level isn't different. Women are very competitive, same as men. And that, as she said, men's sport do get more support. But it's not fair to compare the men's body to the woman's body when it comes to sports and when it comes to competing about something because our body is meant for more muscle mass and to get bigger and to be more athletic than women. It doesn't say that women can't be athletic. I'm not saying that, but it's just not fair to compare our bodies with each other because in the gym, women, they can get huge legs. Guys can't get huge legs sometimes, but we get huge upper body and women don't get huge upper body. You know what I mean? So our bodies are built differently. So it's not fair to compare, like I said. And but when it comes to sports and competitiveness, it's the same level. Men get heated, women get heated. The one thing I did say is, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. Women hold grudges. So whenever when something happens to a girl in a sport or something,
Angel Reese. Sorry.
Prime example. They hold grudges and they make it the center of everything, trying to I'm better than this person or whatever. We can see it in guys as well, but the thing is that they women try to talk and prove their point. Men try to prove it on the court. So, you know what I mean? But that's
and with women, we let it affect our relationships, our friendships.
Exactly.
Y'all forget about after you're out of the game.
Yeah,
it's you're cool again.
A prime example, and I'm gonna use you as an example, sir.
Oh no.
There's this one time that we were playing, and I was playing against Erick here, and Erick is way faster than me. So there's this one time that I forgot what happened, but I had got heated in the game, and I was just mad, and I let it out on Erick. And I bodied him pretty hard.
If
But
you
then
can't
I-
tell, he's stronger than me.
So I bodied him, and then like and then he used his strength, so I would not his speed, so I was just like, oh, like so I was using my strength, he was using his speed like the whole entire game, but then afterwards, it's like nothing happened.
Yeah.
We're here. Hello,
Yeah.
how are you?
Besties.
Yeah.
True.
And before I comment into that, but what I wanted to say was just quickly. I remember, and I jotted this down. And it's a lot. What you said was that men dominate sport culture. Like about they said that, and they're like 100%. Like for women, it's like down here. It's not influenced how it is influenced the other way. And one thing that kind of I remember and I jotted down for you guys is that, and I put it like this: sports equals identity and bonding. And and I want to come back to what you were just talking about, because for me, and I think we've seen it. Another thing for some of you guys that don't know us, we play soccer almost every Monday together, and they've met a lot of my friends, right? And I think, yes, absolutely, we leave it all on the court and it stays there. But we have gotten in those moments where it gets really heated.
Oh yeah.
And we've had circumstances where we've had to like be like, hey, we need to cool off, because like it's the aggressiveness of the man comes out, and I want to say maybe 70% of us are Christians, so we're like, bro, like we need to chill now.
John Cena.
Yeah. You were in there last week. Something happened, or this
What?
Day. Yeah, we'll tell you all about it later.
One of our men.
Bro, that's crazy.
Boy said he was about to take it to the hospital and everything.
Yeah.
Nah, so and that's for me. That it captivates in the same thing. Like I know that it doesn't affect our relationship after the fact, but it can. It really can, because I mean,
To a certain point. If it gets heated to a certain point,
I don't think. Yeah. And to get there, it takes a lot. It's not just our competitive driveness that's gonna put us there.
It takes like weeks and months to be like building up. Yeah.
It's like something building up. And honestly, something that I will say is, people, when we play sports, we play it with the passion. So if our emotions are aligned, great. If we're like up here in aggressiveness, we're gonna get up here in playing. So I think for us,
especially when talking is involved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why when I hear people talk, I tell them, y'all need to shut up, bro, because this is gonna get out of hand. I already know how you guys
That's
are.
how fights start.
Yep. And we do our best, but it always is soon to be happening and all that stuff, right? But what I wanted to say is that we kind of like detox those emotions into court. Like we let all that.
We let it out
like
in court.
I don't know if Eric ever like has a bad weekend. Monday comes in, bro. He pulls up. He's like scores 3 bangers, and he's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like he just had a good day, and he the rest of the week he good to go, right?
Or let it out on someone's ankle. And we good.
Yeah, exactly. So like those things happen for us. I think a lot where our emotions kind of just like, we let them fade away in the court, which, and to a certain point, it's okay. But at the same time, it's sometimes better to talk about it with somebody.
We need therapy is what we need.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
What's that? I don't know what that is.
But talking about competitiveness, like we're competitive and like that kind of thing. But correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe like we share the same thing. I feel like women are equally as competitive, but in other things. And like you talk about like holding like resentment and stuff like that, like what is y'all's mindset on that? Like as far as like, for example, like I'm competitive as in like I don't know, like the way I dress or the way that I like different kinds of things.
Heels today. I'm gonna take out them.
What is that? Because like I said, I feel like we share competitiveness.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just the arenas that we feel that way and how again it affects our life in that way. Yeah.
That's a hard question, because I feel like
There you go.
with us, it's like with our hobbies, like based off of the things that we do, like. But I don't know, because I've never. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've never got it, because I bake a lot, but I've never got it heated with someone over baking,
I don't know, because yesterday it was getting close. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Alex. He made some brownies, and then we had Reyna here, generous in baking banana bread. There was some,
Yeah, there was a
some
little
back and
bit.
forth.
They were beefing. From what I'm hearing, they were beefing.
Yeah.
Baking.
But I don't know. Like maybe if it comes to like starting up a career of some sorts, I know that there's been situations where girls will like talk or like they'll talk about starting up a career or some business or something that they want to just start up, and then the other girl she'll take that idea,
Mm-hmm.
even though she wasn't the one with the original idea, and then like she'll kind of like take that away.
Plagiarism is what we're talking about here.
Pretty
Okay.
much. Like I've seen
Intellectual robbery. Is what it is.
Yes, like I've seen it
It
happen.
sounds like she's
like
talking from a personal experience.
no, I wouldn't say me. Like I
You made me get
hyperanalyze
dirty, bruh.
everything. No, like I've seen people that they'll be like I've had some friends tell me like, oh, I want to start like a flower making business or like a baking business or whatnot, you know. But then they'll have someone that you would think was close to them, but then they'll just like take that away, take away their customers, take away their like,
Immediately the day after they open an Instagram page talking about like I'm in the flower
Yes.
business now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's exactly in sports, but like definitely in other areas, whether it comes to money, whether it comes to
Success? Would you say it's success like driven?
Success
Like,
in general,
so
yeah, 'cause-
Competitiveness and success.
yes, because I've
That's
seen
really
it
cool.
like
We'll get
also
there in a
happen
second.
with like fitness or like becoming like some beauty influencer and stuff like that. Just like anything where people want to get that success. Yeah, that's
That's
what
a
I'm
good
saying.
segue. Actually.
Is there anything that you feel like you're competitive at, like that you want to be better than everybody else?
Bacon.
I'm about to ask
want
Walter
to
the
be
same thing.
Baker. Oh,
Like,
wait, give me a second.
You're gonna
Uh,
ask me
let's-
the same
let's-
thing?
Let's ask Walter first because I gotta think.
like if there's something, cause for me, okay, I kind of mentioned about music, right? I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be competitive about that, but like for me, it's the drive of like getting there. I want to have more drive than anybody else. I want and I want to make sure that if I don't make it, it's because of me, and I'm not gonna be excusing
anyone else.
you. I'm gonna be excusing. Oh, it's because the musicians here. No, nothing. if I can't do it, it's because of myself. That's something that I'm very competitive about. Like that's why like when we talk with Eric, like I tell him, bro, just what we need to do, and I get it together because I do not like to waste time, and I don't want to do that because I know that it's essential for us to get better, and the people around us are gonna get better. So that's something that I would say that I'm very competitive. Got anything, Eric, before they go?
No. I mean, I like just how you brought up like that success because it actually
Yeah.
brings us to our next
Yeah,
point, talking about
which
success.
will-
Yeah, talking about success and pressure and all those things, because with that competitive nature and that kind of drive, you do get into the pressure side of things, into the success side of things, and so you guys talked about how men and women define success differently. Now, refresh my mind real quick on what your perspectives are on that.
On success,
Yeah.
what we said was that men, they tend to be more driven towards providing, towards being the head of a household, even though like in the moment they might not be that in that state, but they were working towards that in the future. And then women, like, yes, we want to work so that we're able to take care of ourselves, not have to depend on anyone else, but at the same time we'll lean more towards just like stewarding our household and things like that, taking care of the things at home, more or less.
Okay.
Well, kind of what she said is what I said. My personal definition of success is me being able to provide and setting up a foundation so that I have a backup plan just in case if something goes drastically wrong with whenever I have a family, that I have something to rely on. Like I'm not only relying on my check to check basis or of course whenever whenever it happens, God knows, get married, of course, like if my wife is working as well, both of our incomes together. But the thing is that I want to have one already set up, but that I made, that I don't have to rely on her to be helping me make it, that I already have one made, that whenever I go there, I already have something set up and already have a foundation plan that we can build up from there. So my success is already having something set up and being able to bring something to the table whenever I'm, meet whoever it's gonna be,
And
Yeah.
would you guys say y'all have that view because of how you guys saw success as growing up, how your parents taught you? Is this more a cultural thing, traditional,
I'd
or
say
would
it's
you say
both.
your faith shapes? Because to be fair, in some sense, in a general sense, you guys kind of mentioned traditional roles between a man and a woman, which we live in a society that is slowly, for some odd reason, it's been working for hundreds of years, but now we want to kind of deviate from what's been working. So society is trying to go away from what you guys are mentioning. But what do you guys think drives that? Is it, again, something growing up? Is it culture, tradition? Is it your faith? Is it the Bible that kind of leads you that way? What is it?
I'd say being Hispanic definitely plays a lot into it because, like, I've seen how roles play out in, like, American families, and it's not the same way as with Hispanic families where the dad was, like, personally me, like, my dad was always working, like, and I'm talking, like, working, like, laborious jobs or, like, jobs that were hard on him. And then my mom should have, like, the easier jobs, taking care of us. She'd be the ones picking us up from school. So I definitely say it was, one, the way I grew up, and then just being
Culture-wise.
Hispanic, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. Well, me growing up, it wasn't like it was kind of different. Both of my parents worked. My mom worked, but she didn't work like a hard labor job. Like she worked like at a bank, and my dad, he was at first he was working like at a computer company, and then after that he went to the bank, and then after that he became a realtor. So my dad had like different businesses. My dad was doing different things at once, so he was always out. Like he was never home. But my mom had her like firm job, you know what I mean? And she would come home, like she would do that. Like, of course it was stress on her as well, but it wasn't as like driving all over the place, all over Houston, trying to find jobs, trying to do different things. So this kind of how I grew up as well. And at the same time, with my thought process of the foundation of like having already something already set up is 50-50 on what my dad has taught me and 50-50 on what I have seen people, like other people, not like they've failed in certain things, you know what I mean? And I see that and I'm just like, I don't want to end up like that. So what can I do differently from what they did that will improve me and I won't fail in those aspects as well? So I like look around with different people that I know, different stories that I've heard and stuff like that. So I try to like set my mindset for me to not fall in those mistakes or not make those mistakes that they did, and like do little like adjustments so I don't fall in those same mistakes. So that's pretty much how my mindset was set.
I was, while they were speaking right now, I remember something that the girls kind of talked about, and when I was sitting there, I was remembering what the guys had said, because the girls, to begin that particular segment, they started talking about faith. They started talking about that because of their faith, the first thing they want to do, then that's how they define success, is seeking God. And if seeking God is they're successful at that, then everything else is given to them in that particular aspect. And when I was sitting there, I was remembering that the guys were like, they were more of like, it was very traditional based and culture based, because I know of a lot of friends that their culture is the exact same way as us, right? And I'm not gonna call them because it's gonna be a little stereotypical if I do that, right? So I'm gonna try to avoid that right now, but. And that's why, for the sense of me, it's like we learn as Christians to combine both of them together, and I think that's what that leads us to define success much different than other people will at this point in life. I mean, really, the only one that's sitting here that's married is Erick.
Praise God.
I'll say praise God too. I don't know. I would. But I know that like he's there now, and that chapter is like we're like right behind him. Let's put it that way. Some of us still studying.
Right behind? I don't know about that one.
Well, what I mean by that is like.
Por fe, como es
Hey man, you said by faith, right? Yeah,
by faith.
I hear you say. I don't hear your faith right now, my boy. Like my bad. But for at least for me, let's put it that way. Let me talk because I'm a little older than you guys too. We're still in school. We're getting along in our careers. And that's the goal, right? That's what we're going through.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're putting all that also in God's hands and taking care of what He's asked us and requested from us, from literally this church. I mean, being here in this podcast is one of the things. Right?
Yeah.
Like when I told you, hey, I'm gonna need help because Erick's not here for the next couple of months, you guys said, yeah, just let me know when. Yeah. That was something that you had to do, and you have to focus on that. I mean, we could have been doing anything else right now. I mean, really, probably eating at this point. But
it's the same thing.
but that's why, like, for me, it's like that's the thing that we have to remember as Christians. Now we see success in a whole different perspective.
No.
But
No, you go word.
okay, no, but what I wanted to say is like the women or the girls said that it's by faith and like God, you know what I mean. But at the same time, like, I do agree with that 100%. But we got to put our part too. He's not just going to give it to us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we pray, we ask, but if we don't act, nothing's going to happen.
Yep.
Amen.
We're just
Faith
we're
without
just
works.
we're just you know praying and praying and praying and praying, and we're not doing nothing. Nothing's gonna happen. So like, yes, faith is something that we have to work on 100%, but at the same time we have to put in our part because God knows what we want. God, he knows everything that we want. We don't even have to tell him, but he wants us to tell him because he wants to see that we rely on him. But at the same time, us telling him, we have to be like, okay, if I actually really want to do it, I have to at least put some of my effort in order for me to get it as well. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
And it's funny, the word success, pressure, all this stuff. I think for us specifically, because we can talk success with someone that maybe doesn't have or is not a follower of Christ, and their route to success may look different. But when we talk about success, we know that we work towards two different realities. You know, our earthly reality, where we have to find success to provide, to make a family, to do all this stuff. But then we also have our spiritual life, right? And how we try to find success through those things. Now, the word that always comes to mind when I think about success and pressure and all this stuff is burnout. When we talk about burnout, because there's like you said, your dad, you know, how growing up you saw him working, you know, hard, difficult jobs. I'm sure because his priority was to provide, but then he also had his duties here at church. You as well, you have your responsibilities, but you're also trying to build, you know, something for your future. And so my question is, do you guys think burnout is a problem rooted in in our spiritual side of things? Is it a cultural thing where or a secular thing where burnout comes from? Or how do you guys reconcile getting or trying to reach towards success but ultimately burning out?
I'd say it's more of a cultural thing, because if I were to talk to my grandparents right now about burnout, they'd be like, what is that? Like, you have to have the discipline to work hard and to truly, you know, put in that effort to get whatever it is that you want. And my grandparents, my great grandparents, they didn't have the luxury of, you know, getting to say that they were burned out because they had to work to survive. So I'd say that burnout would be like more of a today kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is pretty a today kind of thing. Cause like nowadays, cause of course back in the day with our parents and our grandparents, of course they got burnt out, but they're just like, nah, like we gotta keep pushing.
Step on the
Ignored
gas.
it.
Yeah, they were like, we gotta keep pushing. You know what I mean? And that's basically like, cause there's times that, man, I be getting home from work drained, and I'm just like I always ask myself like, how do people like do it? Like they get home, and then like sometimes like okay, like for an example, like my team leader, he's a dad, so you know he works like hard and everything, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna finish the shed I'm working in the backyard. I'm like, brother, I'm gonna go home and sleep. You know what I mean? But like at the same time, and like it's different. I have a feeling as a guy, because I haven't experienced. Maybe you have, because you know you have kids of your own. Whenever you become a dad or a parent, it's like something locks into you, and you're just like, I have to provide for them. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how tired I get. It doesn't matter like what happens. Like I always have to push myself more and more so that they're good. You know what I mean? Or you like your wife or somebody that like you really love that you're living with and everything. Because you know at the end of the day that if you give up some like you that's gonna like a huge foundation or something that's gonna crumble and everything else can crumble. You know what I mean? So that's something that like of course a man gets burnt out. Of course a man feels tired, but and same thing with the woman, because it's the same thing with a woman as well. Like they get burnt out, they get tired. If they give up, if any of us give up, you know, it can just crumble to the ground, everything that we've built up. You know what I mean? So I have a feeling like, of course, we get burnt out, but at the same time, we have to push ourselves because we know what's on the line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it is nowadays that nowadays people be like, oh, I'm burnt out and I'm going to just stop. But it wasn't like that back then because they knew what was on the line. And, you know, since it's a traditional thing, like Reyna was saying, it is a traditional thing because we know what's on the line and we want to give our all to not let that crumble. You know what I mean?
And looking at the side of now talking to us as people of faith, let me ask you guys, because it's something that I personally have gone through in my life. because it's all interconnected, you know, like our secular life and our faith life, you know, as much as we can even try to separate the two, like they're all like connected, you know. And what I've noticed like in the past is when I've had my roughest patches, a lot of times it's whenever spiritually I'm disconnected, right? Like I'm lacking on my relationship. I'm not cultivating, like I'm not praying the way that I should. I'm not looking for, you know, for God's presence the way that I should. And then consequently, everything else seems to be falling apart in my secular life, like because I'm disconnected. And it's dangerous whenever we have the disconnect with the spiritual, or we have that spiritual burnout, as opposed to having burnout on our secular world. Because when we burn out secularly, like we have God to rely on, you know, like, hey, like I'm bringing myself to God. But what's the danger in, like, I'm burned out spiritually, everything else it falls apart.
Yeah.
You know, like it's that kind of thing where I see it on the spiritual side. Because and I think it as far as like the gender perspective, I remember in your video you mentioned about how sometimes women have it easier to really be intimate with God and really search for His presence in a way that it almost seems you were created in such a way to be interceders, to really look for God's presence in a way that maybe guys usually have more trouble doing so. And so talk a little bit about that and how, you know, that connection happens as far as you trying to not let your spiritual success fade or wither, in a sense, to kind of affect the rest of your view on success and pressure.
Yeah. So growing up, well, my mom, for everyone that knows my mom, she is a woman of prayer, a woman of intercession, a woman of faith. And like it's gotten to the point where she'll wake up at like 2 a.m, and then you'll hear her on the phone with other people. And then they're also praying with other damas. It's always other women that are like, you know, praying all together, even if it's over the phone or if it's like in their own households. They're like always, you know, making the effort to separate that quiet time to pray, you know, because during the day it could get hectic, in the evenings as well. But in those, like, you know, early mornings, that's when they make the effort. But then whenever it would come to like men, I wouldn't say that they don't do it, but like I didn't really grow up seeing. It's not as common, maybe. Yeah, I didn't really grow up seeing them, you know, having those, you know, nights of prayer, nights of worship, just like as men. It's always women that would separate that, but not men as much. And a lot of times I would see the women, you know, having that strength to keep moving forward that a lot of times the fathers didn't have. Like if I heard about any families having difficulties, it would be the mothers, you know, often having to step up, lead, and
holding
kind of
everybody together, basically.
Yeah. And a lot of times I would also, you know, help the father, you know, continue moving on, because, you know, once you're married, you kind of like both support each other. But yeah, if we're talking about the spiritual life, the women, I'd say they
help push.
Yes.
Yeah,
and they had that foundation that a lot of times helps men as well. I'd see it even in friendships as well. Yeah, like I've seen a lot of friendships like from college and stuff where, you know, the guys, they might be like, oh, like I'm spiritually drained, like they end up separating from God. And then my female friends, they'll be the ones going out of their way, you know, to give them that motivation about what the word tells us and about how God is our strength, God is our fortress. And yeah.
Well, yeah, one thing that she said that's very true and very like that impacts, like that's different, is that women like always have each other's backs, like, you know, and they always like, it's not that they look for it, it's just like, you know, like, oh, like, you know, they be letting their friends know, or some other like girls, and then they're in a group and they help each other out. You know what I mean? Guys tend to like to do it on their own. They don't like to reach out for help. Talking about myself as well, you know, like there's times that I feel down, or there's times that nothing, I'm just like, I'm gonna just sleep it off, you know what I mean? Or I'm gonna just be like, tomorrow's another day, you know what I mean? So like that's something else too. Like sometimes we feel, and there's a point that it builds up so much that we're just like, we just shut off and we shut down. And you know, I plead, you know, I'm guilty of that. You know what I mean? Because yeah, there's times that like there's so much going on, like so much going on at work, and then stuff like going at home, and then I come to church, and stuff going on here at church as well. And I'm just like, man, like I'm gonna just shut off. Like no one talk to me because you're gonna talk to me, you don't get it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's something that's very different with women and men. That we do it by ourselves, and like, and sometimes we see that like people try to help us and everything, but we close ourselves out. We're just like, nah, we're good. You know what I mean? And we try to do it on our own. But women, they open up to their friends and they talk about it with their feelings and they talk about all that stuff. And then their friends are like, it's okay, girl. You got it. With guys, we're just like, bro, like, get up, come on, like you got it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's not that like we don't care. It's just that like that's how we are. Like we look at each other like, I'm not gonna come up to Eric and be like, bro, this is going on and everything. Eric's just gonna be like, bro, come on, like just shrug it off and let's go. Tomorrow's another day. Facts, like let's go let it out on the soccer field. Like and you were saying, like we let it out and different things that we do. Like, when I'm at work, and something's not going right, I'm mad, man. I'm hitting that gun like bad and everything, soccer and all that stuff. Well, yeah, that's the difference.
He works
impact
with
gun. Impact gun. I'm not shooting nobody. No way. I'm not shooting nobody. Impact gun. Half-inch snap-on gun. Don't worry. You know what I mean? But yeah, like stuff like that. And yeah, that's. I think that's a huge difference that there is between men and women. That women do it like they like to, involve everybody so they can push each other up. Guys just stay on their own. Technically, like they tend to stay on their own.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to cut everything here, but we've made it through basically the time, and I know we have two other segments that you actually were going into the next one, which is friendships and how we relate to them and how we are exposed differently as females and males, right? But I think at the end of the day, the takeaway of everything, really from all three videos, including this one, is that men and women experience culture differently, and some things are just similar. But at the end of the day, we do need Christ.
Yep.
To know, to have that wisdom and know the scripture that's going to help us during those moments that we need it the most, right? Because all of us are going to interact differently with different things. Even as males, us three will interact differently with certain things. We have different things to say about certain things too. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something that we have to always keep in mind. But I really appreciate you guys being here again. And I have no doubt that the viewers will see you guys again here soon enough in a couple other videos. We have a couple of stuff in store from us, and we're actually going to be giving a couple of announcements probably next time. Yeah, next time. Yeah, next time, we're reshaping a couple of things for the podcast and stuff like that. So, kind of excited for those things. But I know that I always do this, and I still want to do it, although we're running out of time here. Any other last remarks from any of us? And we can start, like always, right now.
I mean, ultimately, if y'all don't have anything to say, I think it's
Reyna.
important that we note, hi, I'm Reyna. I think it's important to note, and it's something that a lot of times we, again, society-wise, we don't want to make a difference between genders a lot of times because, you see a lot of people that say, well, we're not different, like we can do the same thing you can do. We can perform the same way you can perform. We're competitive like you guys, or vice versa. But ultimately, we know that God created us differently. Mm. He created us differently purposefully and intentionally because the way that we interact with our reality from our secular lives to our spiritual life, like we just talked about, he knew what he was doing, and we can... it's funny because as different genders, we can bicker and talk about, you guys, see things differently or we see it this way or whatever. And we can have different perspectives on the same topics. But ultimately, that's how God made us. Like we aren't expected to see things the same, and so I think that's just a beautiful thing, to acknowledge that, to be able to talk about these things and help give each other perspective. Because a lot of times we give no grace, to the other gender because, again, we like to, point and judge and whatnot. But ultimately, it's good to have these conversations to find that middle ground and understand each other better. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any of you two need last thing to
say?
say?
No, it's just like Eric said, we were created like this. We're all human. Of course, we all want to live Christ-like. That's our main goal. But God did create us differently. God did, give us our specific roles in life. And, sometimes like in society nowadays, people have tried to like overdo that. Like, I'm not saying that I'm against it, because I'm not against it, because, all for it. But, sometimes it's like the woman, sometimes, you can't take a man's role and the men can't take a woman's role in certain things. Of course, in some things you can. But like, we were built to have our specific roles, and we can't change that. No matter how much we want to change it, no matter how much we hate it, how much we dislike it, and we want to, put our own power to switch it and not let it be that way, nothing's gonna change that. And because God created us perfectly, and God knows what He was doing, and still knows what He's doing, and it does not matter how much we try to imply in switching a men's role with the women's role, the women's role with the men's role. It's not meant to be that way. We're meant for our specific roles, and that's how it should be, and that's how it's always gonna be.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. God created us to help each other. If God would have only wanted men to keep to themselves and women to, he probably wouldn't have created women, because the man was created first. But He knew that we needed each other, that we needed helpers. We weren't meant to be solitary solitary people. We weren't meant to be. Sorry.
Oh Lord.
Sorry, there's a little bit of biology there. But we weren't meant to, just do things on our own. We were meant to complement each other. So, feminism, very anti-biblical. What's the male version of?
Or at least modern feminism.
Yeah, modern
Modern
feminism, very anti-biblical, but yeah.
And then I don't know what it is in English, but in Spanish it's machismo.
Also anti-biblical.
Masculinity.
Eso.
Or I guess what they call now toxic masculinity, which at this point, that's a whole other podcast that we could talk about. Modern feminism. Actually, that's a good one. We're gonna have y'all back for that one.
Right. That's cool.
But I appreciate everyone.
Thank
I
you.
have no last remarks, because you already said everything that needed to be said. God bless everyone that was watching. I appreciate you guys seeing this. Continue to like and subscribe, and if you guys can continue to support us in this channel, sharing it and just telling it to your friends or family that need it. You never know, they may be impacted by this word. And also, just a reminder for everyone: Thursdays we're having our English services. We've had a couple already. Some people here don't go, but it's all right. Haven't shown up, but we're not gonna point fingers. It's just like that. It's just like that. But we appreciate everyone that's been coming.
We don't want him to burn out. That's what it is.
Got it. Okay.
Amen.
But yeah. So if you guys are more than welcome to see us through the stream or even here in person, so I appreciate that. And
I watch the streams though. I do.
Do you comment?
Oh, I don't comment.
Let's
but I
share.
watch.
Let's comment. Let's like. Let's.
I need
spread
him
the
to
message.
comment so I can know he actually watches.
All right, baby, I got you. I'll comment. I'll be like here, like if it's
Present.
present.
But this concludes this episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, guys.
Bye.